Hi there.
Allie for mayor!
Oh, please no.
Sorry.
I think I'm a little too rude for that kind of decorum. So this camping ban has been 30 years this year. This camping ban was passed in July of 1983. And this camping ban was passed as a result of a city commission called the Vagrancy Task Force to handle all the, quote, vagrancy issues that we had in 1983, of course not realizing that vagrancy, by today's words, is kind of pejorative. However, amongst the Vagrancy Task Force recommendations, which included the camping laws that we are fighting today, also included public and private campgrounds to be installed throughout the city of Eugene. So it was the intent of the City Council in 1983, and it was the intent of the task force that put forth the vagrancy report, that because we were making camping on public property illegal, we were supposed to compensate by opening public and private campgrounds all over the city of Eugene. 30 years later, that has not happened. And 30 years later, we are still in the same situation we were in 1983, where people are sleeping all over the streets. However, when these laws were passed in 1983, the numbers they had of the people who were sleeping on the streets was 200 to 300. Last night's Lane County one-night homeless count number released, which I will say is probably a dramatic undercount, but still puts forth about 1,800 people. So not only have we never provided public and private campgrounds, but the number has increased at least 5-fold since this ordinance was passed 30 years ago. And I think today is the day that we need to change it. And I really hope that the City Council decides to put their money where their mouth is, decides to act based on the principles that they so espouse, decides to hold up the principles of Eugene as a human rights city, and decides to act with the courage of their convictions. Let's hope it happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Allie. And next we have Jean Stacy from Sleeps.
Today is the day that a lot of us have been working for and waiting for a long time. Today, the council's members are going to have to speak publicly about why they are unwilling in the past, have been unwilling in the past, to do anything to help the people who are on the streets. Today, the council accepts responsibility that is their policies that set the mood for the travesty of justice daily carried out by the Eugene Police Department. This is not just a police flaw. This is a flaw in policies. Every individual counselor is responsible for what goes on in the city of Eugene against those who are unhoused. I've just received the paperwork that the city staff has spent the last month preparing in order to make the conversation today be productive. We have met with city staff and with Greg Evans, Sarah Maderi, and Kurt Corley in an effort to have some specific recommendations put before the council. Perhaps that will happen at the meeting today, but right now, all the counselors have received from city staff is a written description of current policies. In spite of all the meetings with staff, in spite of the hundreds of people who have testified before council, today, as of this moment, staff has not put any recommendations forward for change. This is another form of resistance. And we who care about what is going on must continue to speak out. Our presence here today is critical, and we must follow up and be certain that the mayor and the city councilors do what they were elected to do. Paramount today is that a city's first obligation to its population is public health and sanitation. But the city of Eugene, knowing 1,500 people are out there peeing and pooping, has purposefully locked bathrooms, has purposefully removed porta potties, has purposefully forced people to pee and poop. And then they force their city employees to go and clean up those areas and subject themselves to contamination. And they allow families and children to play in those parks where people are forced to pee and poop. This is not performing the most critical responsibility of a city government. We cannot allow this to continue. As far back as the 40s, Allie taught me, the Supreme Court Justice in Oregon ruled that the parks were appropriately to be used for homeless camps. Appropriately to be used for homeless camps. He said it is not good for anyone when there are people living on the streets. The public good is best served by everyone doing well. There's a saying, everyone does better when everyone does better. And that's exactly what he has said. And his words should be heard today by that city council, and let them do the moral thing. There was criticism last night because a gentleman spoke out with a bit of anger in his voice. In fact, several did. I think we all have to remember that many times anger is the only sane and moral response to what government does. So anger is definitely to be expected if this city continues to have these violations and travesties of justice that it has done in its recent history. So let's expect good things today. Let's be prepared for nothing.